It is no surprise that Sonic the Hedgehog is one of my favorite video game series of all time. Growing up with this game has led me to have a soft spot for the Hedgehog, and today I want to go over the best aspects of each game so you could truly understand why I love this series so much, despite all the flaws that it might have. So without dragging it, let's get into the video. These are the best aspects of each mainline Sonic game in the series and why I love the games so much. Starting off the list is Sonic the Hedgehog 1991, the first ever Sonic game. So I've been on record stating that this is not my favorite Sonic game, but nonetheless it still has some pretty good features. But my absolute favorite feature of Sonic the Hedgehog 1991 is its environment. This game really set the standard for all the different environments that a game could have, where in Mario you're kind of just going through the same elemental environments: grass, beach, sand, fire. And in Sonic the Hedgehog 1991, you are going through a lot of different environments that are completely unique and very original. You can be going through an ancient temple flooded with water at one stage, and in the very next stage you are climbing a tower that is made of metal that is basically reaching the stars in space. It is incredible what they did, and the creativity really shows in this first game. If I had to give an honorable mention, it would be Starlight Zone. I have been on record again stating that some of these stages, actually most of these stages, are not that great, and they really halt the pace of this game. But the light at the end of the tunnel literally is Starlight Zone, where you finally get through that slog of 3 stages that don't really have a lot of speed and very frustrating platforming, and you get to Starlight Zone, and it is just a chill atmosphere with chill music. You get to showcase your speed and have a blend of platforming. It is amazing when you get to this level, and I know that's probably cheating just because it is by proxy of other stages being bad, but the feeling that you get really is remarkable, so that is an honorable mention. But in general, Sonic the Hedgehog 1991's best aspect is its environments. Next on the list is Sonic CD, and Sonic CD is a lesser appreciated title, but it is safe to say that most people can agree that the best aspect of this game is its music, undoubtedly. And don't even get me started on Sonic Boom. But I feel like this is a no-brainer, and I think that a lot of Sonic games in the future will have a lot of great music, so it's kind of a cop-out. So I am going to give another take, and I think the best aspect of Sonic CD is its ambitious time travel mechanic. I think it is really cool that you get to go back into time and see how much of an impact Eggman had on the environment, where you get a ton of different environment variety, piggybacking off of the original Sonic the Hedgehog game, where you get a slew of different environments. This one does the exact same, but with a twist where you have to go back in time and destroy the generators that cause the future to be bad, and then once you do that, you get the good future. And I think that is an amazing concept, and it's very ambitious for such an old title and for such a classic title. Although I don't really like exploring in 2D environments, I have to sit back and really just appreciate all the effort that they put into this game. It is really truly an underrated game, and this is the best aspect of Sonic CD. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for a long time was one of my favorite classic games in the series, and my favorite aspect of this game without a doubt is the raw sense of speed that you get. It is really odd in the first Sonic game, a character that's all about speed doesn't really have a lot of stages to actually use his speed, but in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 they more than make up for this, and they make stages that you can really display your sense of speed by going super fast. Chemical Plant especially, where you are running so fast that you basically go off camera. This is the perfect blend of speed and platforming, and this is the absolute best aspect of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 because it made me grow my love for the classic games, and that's exactly what a title should do. Next is Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles, and this is without a doubt my favorite classic game in the entire franchise. I love this game so much. I think the level design is absolutely amazing, and they take level aesthetic diversity to a whole new level where you are going through the most diverse levels you have ever seen in a video game. But since this was a concept piggybacking off of the original Sonic game and continued throughout the classic games, I think the best aspect of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles is its storytelling through silent cutscenes. And I really have to give it to them because obviously technical limitations didn't allow for certain things. And having a story as good as this where Knuckles is tricked by Eggman and then eventually Eggman betrays him, just like in Sonic Movie 2 where he steals the Master Emerald and now you have to team up with Knuckles. It is just incredible to see. Do I believe it could be developed a little bit more where you get the motivations for Knuckles earlier in the story? Yes, I do think so. But again, like I said, the technical limitations, you have to appreciate all the effort that they did with this game and trying to convey a compelling story with Knuckles the Echidna, and I think they did a fantastic job. So that is my favorite aspect of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. Sonic Adventure is the first 3D platformer in the series, and I think it does an incredible job for its first time at bat. But my favorite part about Sonic Adventure, by far, is that Sonic is finally propelled into a much larger world. Sonic finally comes to Earth and shares the world with humans, and I think that this is a fantastic choice. I know a lot of people don't like that Sonic and friends share the same world and share the same universe as humans, but I kind of don't get that logic. I think that it's only positive and that it raises the stakes so much more because if Sonic fails, real lives will be in danger, and we really don't see any of that in the titles that came before Sonic Adventure. And I think that putting Sonic in the world with humans really shows the contrast between how powerful these anthropomorphic characters are versus just regular humans. I think it was a great idea, and it basically shows that Sonic and friends are the superheroes of their world. And again, I think that was a fantastic idea just to make sure that the audience really has a sense of stakes. Where Eggman is trying to destroy Station Square, we know people live there. We know that Perfect Chaos is destroying the environments. It makes it that much more believable that real lives are being put in danger. And I really appreciate that for Sonic Adventure. So that is my favorite part of Sonic Adventure. Next is Sonic Adventure 2, my favorite game in the entire series. There is just so much to love about this game, from the level design to the music to the characters, especially Shadow the Hedgehog. But my absolute favorite aspect of Sonic Adventure 2 is its dark story. I love seeing how much trauma Shadow went through, and I love seeing his struggle, his internal struggle, with coming to terms of, do I choose revenge or do I choose forgiveness? And I think that was very, very compelling. It has a very deep meaning and very dark tone, and it was handled so well for a kid's game, and I have to appreciate that so much. Where I feel like a lot of the times in kids' movies and shows, they try to stray away from having any sort of deep message in fear of kids just not understanding. And I think that we are not giving kids enough credit. They are smart. They will be able to get this. And when they grow up, when they come back to these games or TV shows or movies, they will have a whole new sense of appreciation, just like I did when I replayed Sonic Adventure 2 as an adult. Not to mention that the dark tone allowed us to have one of the most epic finales in a video game, where Dr. Robotnik is sending the Ark to crash straight into the Earth, threatening the entire planet. That is really, really high stakes, where Super Sonic and Super Shadow finally have to team up to stop the Ark, and Shadow makes the sacrifice play in order to save all of humanity. That is just a beautiful, beautiful conclusion and a satisfying ending to one of my favorite games of all time. Next is Sonic Heroes, and it is one of my favorite games in the franchise, right below Sonic Adventure 2. Honestly, at times, it's neck and neck, and I've made multiple videos on the soundtrack. I think this soundtrack is absolutely phenomenal. There are basically no skips in this soundtrack, but a soundtrack is only half the battle. You have to have great level design in order to really sell the stage that you're putting the music behind. And Sonic Heroes definitely hits that mark, where I think that the team mechanics have been implemented very, very well, and it's really impressive that they did this so well and never came back to it. Obviously, there are a few polish issues and bug issues where you slide off the map sometimes and you drop like rocks when you run out of flight in flight formation. There are just a bunch of things that bring down the overall quality of Sonic Heroes. However, if those things were polished, I think everyone could agree that these stages are so well designed, and the longer length doesn't even bother me anymore because I'm playing as 3 separate characters, using all of their abilities, combining them to make the strongest team possible and do the fastest run possible. And I really want to see this mechanic come back in either a remake of Sonic Heroes, which by the looks of it doesn't look like it's happening anymore, unfortunate, or a sequel, and I don't think that's happening either. I think they're very scared of Sonic Heroes, but I really want to at least have a port of this, so please Sega, give us a port. But yeah, to conclude, Sonic Heroes has some of my favorite level design, and I love the ambitious team mechanic that they came up with. It is a fantastic game in my opinion, and that is my favorite part. Next is Shadow the Hedgehog, and say what you want about this game, but I personally really love this game. I think the best part about Shadow the Hedgehog is the fact that you can choose your story for Shadow, really get into the mind of Shadow and try to guide him on a path that you think is fit for his character. I think that even though it's a happy accident, it really lets you get creative as a Sonic fan, where you choose yourself what you think Shadow would do in a certain situation. And I just have to commend that creativity, because you get to come up with your own path, your own headcanon, your own story for Shadow and what fits best for him. Yes, I do think a game should be able to write a cohesive story and not rely on a player's headcanon. I'm not saying that that's some sort of standard that they should be doing or a new direction they should be going, but for the game itself, what it brings to the table, I never see anybody conversate about what happened, what actually happened, more than Shadow the Hedgehog. And everybody's answer is different, and everybody's answer is unique. And I love that. I love the conversation that it sparks. And like I said, again, it is a happy accident for the mechanic where you get to choose different paths. But still, I really enjoy seeing people's headcanons agreeing and disagreeing, talking about why they chose this way and why they didn't choose another way. I love the conversation that it generates, and that is my favorite aspect of Shadow the Hedgehog. Next is the infamous Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, and in my personal opinion, I actually really enjoy this game. Despite its flaws and its absolutely devastating glitches, I think that Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 has some really redeeming qualities that I do go over in another video, a part of my apology series, where I go over things that I didn't like as a kid in the Sonic franchise, but now can fully appreciate as an adult. And this is one of those games where you really go back to it and you understand what the vision was. I think that this is another compelling story that we get for the adventure series, quote unquote, and it is adventure series level quality. I think that Shadow the Hedgehog is another very strong point in this game, where he continues all of his character development from Sonic Adventure 2 in Sonic Heroes and in Shadow the Hedgehog 05, and all of that culminates to this game here, where he gets iconic lines such as this:
"If the world chooses to become my enemy, I will fight like I always have.
It would be so easy for Sega to just throw away all that character development like we see in future games, but instead they chose the best possible outcome for Shadow, where he is working with Gun now. He has really chosen to leave the past behind him, and that is incredible to see. Also, Silver the Hedgehog is an awesome and fantastic addition to the Sonic the Hedgehog roster. He is one of the most powerful characters in Sonic, and I love his character where he is just a man on a mission trying to make sure that his world is restored without Iblis destroying everything. I love Silver as well, and he is one of the best parts of Sonic the Hedgehog 06. So in conclusion, my favorite part about Sonic the Hedgehog 06 has to be how they handled the characters' stories. Even Sonic gets his moments to shine. I think that this game has a very epic finale and really goes to show how much effort they put into the story, and I have to appreciate that. So that is my favorite aspect of Sonic the Hedgehog 06. Next on the list is Sonic Unleashed, one of my favorite games in the series. I absolutely love this game, and I had the pleasure of playing it for the first time a few months ago, and it was incredible. There are just too many things to enjoy about this game. It is the full package in my opinion. Great music, great levels, great aesthetics, everything is here, and I have to say, one of my favorite parts about this game is its CG cutscenes. These guys did not disappoint with the CG. The cutscenes are absolutely gorgeous, and it is incredible. They definitely did not skip out on the budget when they were doing these CG cutscenes. Of course, that opener is absolutely iconic, and I also love the cutscenes that we get where Sonic transforms to Super Sonic alongside Light Gaia to defeat Dark Gaia. It is just spectacular. That is the word to use for this game, spectacle. And not only the CG, I have to talk about the daytime stages. There are no levels in the Sonic franchise that even come close to how well done these stages are. They have the best boost level stages, without a doubt, in the entire series. And I really hope that we can get back to this level of quality, because it is just night and day, literally, and I really have to appreciate that now. Sega, for the love of God, give us a Sonic Unleashed port. What are you doing? Do you know what I had to do to play this game, bro?
But you can't do this to me.
I started this company. You know how much I sacrificed?
Next in the series is Sonic Colors. I didn't really enjoy this game as much as I was hoping to, but I have to say the one aspect that I did enjoy was the Wisp powers. I think it was a great addition where we definitely needed some variety in Sonic's moveset, and we don't really see him powering up, and I love that concept. I remember as a kid reading through Game Informer magazine and seeing all of the different powers and abilities that Sonic was going to get for this new game. And although the powers are very specific and very circumstantial, I would love to see these Wisps come back for their full potential. And no, I'm not talking about Sonic Forces. So to conclude, I think that Sonic Colors really had a great idea with the Wisps, and I really enjoyed using them in the game. Next is Sonic Generations, and unfortunately I'm going to have to give a cop-out answer, because this game doesn't have originality, but that is the whole entire point of the game, so it doesn't lose credits there. That's not a negative thing to say about the game, but actually a positive thing to say about the game, where they do such a great job with taking old levels and redesigning them, remastering them to look incredible and play well with the boost formula. And Classic Sonic also gets some really good levels as well, and I think they knocked it out of the park, where they didn't just take the stage and completely remake it graphic wise only. They completely overhauled it where you get new level design for these old stages, and they knocked it out of the park. These are some of my favorite levels in the series, right under Sonic Unleashed. They did a great job with choosing the levels that are most iconic in their respective games. However, I did make a video about how I would stage Sonic Generations. If you're interested in that, the title card would be up somewhere on the screen. So yeah, to conclude, I think that Sonic Generations did an amazing job overhauling all of these old levels to something that is both familiar and new. And that, I think, is a very underappreciated thing that Sonic Generations does. Next on the list is Sonic Forces. Now, Sonic Forces is probably my least favorite game in the series. I think even the music, something that Sonic the Hedgehog almost always gets right, is kind of lacking, and that is very unfortunate. But there are positive things to be said about Sonic Forces. It's not just all bitterness and negativity, although I really want it to be sometimes. But the best aspect, without a doubt, is the customizable features that you get in this game, where you can create a completely original character, just like so many Sonic fans already do. So it was great to see that they accommodated this, where you get to choose your animal, you get to choose how they look, and not only that, you can choose customizable clothes and accessories for your character to wear. And I think that's pretty cool, and my favorite aspect about Sonic Forces.
Can I play the damn game? Oh my god.
Sonic Frontiers is a great Sonic game in my opinion. I think the open zone worked pretty well for a Sonic game, and I think that the best aspect in this game, without a doubt, has to be the supersonic boss fights. I think the supersonic boss fights in this game single-handedly made Supersonic really cool again, where we did not get Supersonic in the past couple of games, and they brought him back in absolute excellent fashion. We are just going to town on these Titans in Dragon Ball Z-esque fashion. I love the over-the-topness of all of these boss fights, especially Wyvern, where you take him by the tail and you start flinging him around and around and slamming into a mountain. Like, Supersonic was just at his peak in this game, and I have to appreciate that. And I think the best aspect of Sonic Frontiers were the supersonic boss fights. Unfortunately, I have never played Sonic Lost World. I will get to it eventually, so I had to leave it off this list. So, to conclude the video, we are talking about the final game in the Mainline series, and that game is the recently released Shadow Generations. Honestly, Shadow Generations is probably one of my favorite games so far in the series, and I think the absolute best aspect of this game is just how much content there is. I was very much going into this game thinking that this was going to be a very short game where there's not much to do, and the Sonic Generations portion would probably be about 1.5 times longer. But that is really not the case, especially if you take your time in the hub world. I think there is so much to do in this game, where you are going around the hub world, collecting music, art, even pages from Gerald Robotnik's journal. I think that is absolutely incredible how much content they packed into this mini game, quote unquote. And it is really satisfying to have a full new game attached to Sonic Generations, where you actually have really good levels as well. Yes, there are less than Sonic Generations, but again, just the overall amount of content that they put into this game, some of the best boss fights in the series. I really enjoy it, and it is by far the best aspect of the game, where there is so much content to enjoy for something that has been advertised as just an add-on or a side project. I think they knocked it out of the park, and if we keep getting quality games like this, Sonic will definitely be on his hot streak. But that will do it for the video. Please let me know your ideas, your opinions. Leave them in the comments below. I will respond to each and every one of you. Definitely like the video if you liked it. And definitely hit that subscribe button. I will be making videos every single week. And whether you like Sonic, whether you like nerdy things in general, I talk about it here. Whether it's movies, TV shows, or video games. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you stayed until the end, I really appreciate it. And I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.